Hey guys, Doc here to tell you about something that could really give you the edge in gaming. I'm talking about our show sponsor, Fade Grips. Thumbstick grips as well as controller grips that give comfort, precision, and control so you can take your gaming to the next level. Just go to fadegrips.store and check out all they have to offer. And with our promo code, CAG20, at checkout, you can get 20% off your entire order. That's fadegrips.store with offer code CAG20.
Hello everyone and welcome to episode 48 of Cross Atlantic Gaming. I'm your host Risky the Kid, and joining me this week are my co-hosts Doc H1X1.
Hey, what's up?
Chocolate Bear.
How you doing, folks?
And in our rotating fourth chair, community member and special friend. I called you special, WaterLou.
Yay! It's me, guys. Hey, I don't know if you remember me, but it's WaterLou.
What's
How
up,
can
Lou?
we
How you doing?
forget you, Waterloo?
I don't know. Many people
You're always
do.
in our hearts.
Aw, thank you.
All right, first up, we do have a big announcement. Episode 50, the big 5-0, halfway to 100, 2 times longer than 25.
It's almost a decade.
Yep, I checked it. The math holds up. That's true.
It's more than a decade. A decade.
Yeah, so it's... Oh,
You said almost a decade. Yep.
I was thinking, what's the 100?
And this
Century?
is we're having Waterloo on the podcast.
I'll just stop.
Episode
Math.
50 is coming up in 2 episodes, and the big announcement for this episode, at least, is that we are going to be doing the show live on.
No.
Oh, well, that changes our plans, dang it.
Oh, never mind then. We're not doing it live. We're gonna do it live.
We agreed to this before, Chocolate. You can't back out now.
God damn it.
So yeah, we're going to be doing episode 50 live on Mixer at mixer.com/crossatlantic gaming. We changed that a while ago, and I still can't get used to it. But mixer.com/crossatlantic gaming. So we will have dates, times, all that good stuff, because it's tough for us to line up our schedules. So as soon as we have a date set in stone, or a date and time set in stone, we'll let everybody know via Discord, Twitter, everywhere we can. If we can iron it out before episode 49, which hopefully we can, we'll be able to tell you on the podcast as well. But yeah, we're gonna try going forward to do our episodes live on Mixer.
Stepping it up.
Yeah, stepping up our game, huh?
Nice.
Everybody's
It's
gonna have to
worrying.
see our ugly faces.
Oh, yeah, I didn't think about that. Crap.
Just wear a mask.
Oh, yeah, good idea. Okay,
That'd be
done.
amazing.
I'm just gonna put my camera down on my dogs on the floor. You can just look at them the whole time.
Dress your dogs up, and then like in the old Sesame Streets when they would have the dogs.
They're not puppets.
No, yeah. I don't know why I'm making puppets with my hands. You guys can't see that. If it was live, you could. But
Yeah.
That's a good point. Yeah, so we'll definitely have more details on it next episode, but definitely stay tuned to Cross Atlantic Gaming. We're gonna have giveaways. We're gonna have physical giveaways where we're actually shipping stuff out to some people. We'll have some digital goodies to give away, all sorts of fun stuff.
Stuff on socials as
stuff
well.
on social, everything. Tell your friends, tell your family, your loved ones, tell strangers on the street.
Say hello to your mom for me.
Yep. Your
Always-
children.
Your children.
Tell them definitely.
Definitely. All right. Well, it's about time we move on from that. Like I said, keep in touch on the socials in Discord. And next episode, we'll have even more details for it. But that's big and exciting news, I think. Hopefully that'll open us up to an even bigger audience being live, and hopefully our faces don't scare them all away.
I mean, after they see Chocolate, I'm envisioning those downloads just taking off.
I'm
So,
just imagining a male version of Aunt Jemima right now.
For chocolate?
Yeah.
I need to Google who she is.
imagine
What?
like, wait, what?
She's a maple syrup.
Yeah, maple syrup
Chocolate.
lady.
He's kind of in his own little hobnob world, so he doesn't really know much.
All
of
right,
the
he's got
other-
hobnobs. We've got Aunt
Yeah.
Jemima. I don't know which is
What
which.
a hobnob.
I think we won that one. Am I right, guys?
Oh, they're vile. You don't want to go anywhere near hobnobs, Lou.
Yeah.
Oh,
They just sound bad.
They-
Hobs
they're
and
awful.
knobs.
Hobbs
Yeah.
and Knobs.
No.
What I was getting at though, Waterloo, is imagine like Daniel Craig, but like more handsome, and then that's chocolate.
Oh, okay.
Rugged,
Yeah.
darker.
Yeah.
Darker,
A lot
yeah, that's
bigger.
So I just got back. I wasn't here last episode, obviously. I was down in Florida, and I was really just going down there to get a tan so that for episode 50 I didn't look like a scary white ghost. So
That makes sense.
that's really the only reason I was down in Florida.
That's the only reason to go to Florida, or if you're old,
Or if you're old.
to retire.
It was funny the amount of people down in Florida that are from Syracuse, which is weird. We're playing bingo around the pool with all the old folks, and they'd be like, "All right, you won bingo. Tell us your name and where you're from." She'd be like, "I'm Rupert from Syracuse." I don't know why Rupert's
Rupert?
a woman, or why Rupert was the first name. Came to my
Crazy
mind.
good at bingo though.
But yeah, Rupert, she is real good at bingo.
She cheats.
She must.
I heard that actually. Yeah.
She's got
Brings her own
extra
cards.
boards. Yeah.
All right, let's get this show on the road. Another
Rupert.
week in gaming. What has everybody been playing? Let's start with Doc. He's got a lot of Vietnam. That sounded weird. A lot of Vietnam to talk about.
Not gonna do it.
Yeah, so like a lot of things that ends up happening with me, I got on a Netflix binge of some Vietnam documentaries, and then
Like you do.
I really wanted to play some Vietnam games after that. So,
Makes sense.
first thing I booted up was Battlefield Bad Company 2, the Vietnam expansion, which it's not like you need much of an excuse to boot up that game. It's a darn good game. Was surprised that there was still a lot of people playing it, actually. And because for everybody that doesn't know, it is back compat, so you can play that through the Xbox One. But played that for a while, then basically hopped on Steam and was like, what's the most recent Vietnam game that's got a halfway decent rating? And the one I came up with was Rising Storm 2 Vietnam, which I actually did not know that series had a Vietnam game. I'm more familiar with it because they made a World War II game in that by that developer. And I didn't know they had a Vietnam version. So downloaded that and played a lot of that. And yeah, just fired up some music from the time period, like Bird is the Word, a bunch of other stuff, and just played some Vietnam games, and it was great. Loved it.
You need to stream these, dog.
You really do.
I know. This week was really weird because some stuff like work related, I had to end up being at work a little bit more than normal, so it kind of threw everything off. But I think I've finally got the room down here in the basement all set up, so it's stream worthy. Up until now, there was just like
Stream worthy.
well, there was like cables from everywhere, like wires laying around and stuff. It was kind of a mess, and so now everything's where it's supposed to be. So I think I'll be doing that a lot more, or I just won't be using a webcam either way. So
I think you should be using a webcam, and I think you should have whatever helmet and or hat is appropriate for the time
oh
period.
man, helicopter pilot helmet with the shades on it. Yeah, that would be
yes.
great.
War paint.
That would be perfect.
But yeah, or just war.
I could even get a program up on my what's that Stream Deck thing where I could just act like I'm talking through a radio microphone. That'd be even better.
I think this all sounds really good. I think you're teasing the people if you don't do it now. So.
Yeah. I mean, and I kind of have to do the music now because I've got a list on Spotify playlist titled Vietnam Music. So that's what I play when I play Vietnam games, obviously.
So do you think you're the only person who has a playlist on their Spotify called Vietnam Music?
Yes, probably.
Yeah,
Actually,
I would
no, not
agree.
necessarily because I searched it and there was definitely some Vietnam playlist on there. So, but I have a bunch of games like that. I have like one with like sea shanties and stuff when I'm playing Sea of Thieves.
Now, was this Vietnam music? Was it like actually like
Vietnamese?
Vietnamese
No.
people singing like
Turns out the Vietnam music scene during that time was
well, you
not
did say
that big
okay,
for obvious reasons. But
Didn't think so, but
turns
I
out there was a
had to make
war
sure.
across the entire country. But
I had to make sure that wasn't what you were listening to.
no, it was just like period appropriate stuff, which I feel bad. I guess I could pull it up, but it was everything you would think of for like late '60s, early '70s, basically that was popular at the time.
It's
So,
like if you watch Full Metal Jacket, just everything.
totally,
In that
think of it, all the stuff played during that. Totally, yeah.
perfect.
I'd also.
Yeah.
So I think you need to link all these playlists because I'd also like to hear your sea shanty playlist as well.
Yeah.
Well, see, some of them, like the cool thing about Spotify, and I guess this is as good a time as any to talk about it now, but like the cool thing about Spotify is when you search stuff, a lot of times you can see what other people have made into playlists, which can end up being pretty great for like video game related stuff. Because like the one that was that I've got basically for the Sea of Thieves is stuff that people had just gathered from everything from like AC4 playlists that's on there to the official Sea of Thieves soundtrack to other like Irish sailing songs and stuff like that. Turns out like I guess Irish made a lot of the famous ones like What Do You Do with the Drunken Sailor, Put Him in a Rowboat, all that stuff. Those are like Irish songs.
That sounds accurate.
Yeah.
Yep.
So like
99
people have
miles a
made
year.
yeah. So people have made a lot of these lists, but if you just like search video games, you'd be surprised how many people have just like, yeah, these songs work incredibly good if you're playing this game. Like they make sense. So that's how I put a lot of them together. But yeah,
That's nice. You let someone else curate all the music.
Totally.
Take the playlist.
And they make it to where you can search that and just find it. So Spotify's pretty cool.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Nice.
All right. Next up, we'll go over to WaterLou. Yoshi's Woolly World. That came out a few weeks ago, a week ago or something. How are you enjoying that?
I'm really liking it. I love the kind of like the graphics of it. The look of it's very fun. I like being able to kind of have that platformer, but also have that third, like that depth into it where it can go
Like a
backwards too.
Third dimension in the
Yeah,
background.
which is really fun. It just I love the way that Yoshi looks. He's just like a fuzzy little character into it.
Would you say he's woolly?
Yeah, I'd say he's very woolly.
Yuck.
It's like any type of Mario game, though. Jump on their heads, eat them, shoot them out with the eggs. Nothing too difficult. There's no dying in the game. If you just die, they'll just put you back at the front of the map.
You said there's no dying, but if you die,
Okay, if you lose,
There's no permadeath in
mission,
There's some
Woolly
kids
World.
that are crying out in the world right now that just heard him say that Yoshi dies. So.
Yeah.
oh my god!
So I mean, it's not very difficult. It's not challenging. You just got to collect flowers. Have enough flowers to put into a box to open up the next area.
As you do.
Yeah, as in just like Super Mario Sunshine, you just collect the suns. Very basic Mario type style game. It's just very fun. Once you complete a level, you can go back and play it again, but this time instead of looking for flowers, you're looking for dogs, or they'll have something special you need to find in the map.
Is that when you can see from behind
Yep.
the level when you go back to it?
Yep.
I think that.
Oh, that's cool.
That's a
Yeah.
super interesting take on this type of game.
Yeah.
Because like you said, the art style is a very like arts and crafty.
Yeah.
Like it's cardboard houses and stuff like that. So when you turn it around and go back through it backwards, isn't it just like brown cardboard boxes?
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So
That's
basically,
neat.
you'll see when you play through it the first time, they'll have like one of the shrubberies, so they cut out shrubbery of cardboard, and there'll be like a Goomba or whatever hiding behind it. And you throw an egg at to it, and then you can throw the egg at him. And then when you play it the second time, you just see him hiding behind
the bush.
but he's there because you're behind him. So it's just like it's kind of cool being able to do that. It's also multiplayer too. They have little like gumball machines. You can spend your money onto basically costumes. You put in the tokens, and they put out eggs, and then when they open, like you can get a samurai outfit for Yoshi. It's like a box he's in.
You said it was multiplayer, and then you led with that.
Yeah, well, yeah.
How is it multiplayer?
I don't know. I haven't done the multiplayer. I don't have any friends to play with, so I just know it says
Says on the
two-player.
Yeah, I would say on the back of the box it says 1 to 2 though.
Yeah.
So
I think this is more just subtle
Multiplayer.
hints at you, Risky, that he wants to play the game with you and then you're not. So
just buy Woolly World. It says there's 2 players.
Yeah, I mean it's fun though. I like it. I'm almost done with the game. I have 2 more like flower shards I need to collect, and then I'll be pretty much done with it.
Was it long or did it feel pretty short?
I mean, since I'm not like 100%ing it,
Probably a little quicker.
Yeah, it's definitely a little quicker. I'm just gathering enough flowers so I can get to the next game. I want some type of accomplishment, so I want to beat a game. So that's why I kind of picked this game.
Give me
And you
something
went to
short
Nintendo.
and sweet.
That's how I feel like when I want something simple. Nintendo's a good thing to pick up.
True, yeah.
Usually, the games are never too challenging, especially on the Switch. And if they are, well, that's when you dock it and then play with your Pro controller.
When you actually use that Pro controller.
that's when you know things are getting serious.
Oh yeah, I've been playing a lot of that. Probably about an hour every day. Overwatch, they've added a new character. I know you guys aren't Overwatch fans. I'm not really either.
Hey, we didn't say we weren't.
But
We just
it's
know
a
that
fun
Paladins is a superior being.
I mean, we've took them both to the lab and we've done extensive tests, and science has concluded that Overwatch is trash. So and Paladins reigns supreme.
They're the same game, just with different skins on it. It's like looking at a white and black person. They're the same.
The funny thing about all of it is that we actually have no skin in this game, and I generally don't care about either of them, but I just really, really want to play the card and make Ladonian think that I just think Overwatch is trash. So,
who are you? No, what's up, Chocolate?
I was just saying, Paladins is great.
Yeah. Paladins is fun, when you want to be a child and play a game.
I am a child. Peter Pan.
Aren't we all children? We're all
Peter Pan.
We're all in our 30s playing video games, so I don't know.
fair.
Yeah, I mean, there's a new character, Batista. He's a healer.
Whoa, what?
Yeah.
Not that
Batista is in this game. I'm totally getting into Overwatch
Batista is in the game. He's a French dude who is a healer.
All right, I'm out.
It's kind of right.
A French dude who's a healer.
It's kind of a different take onto what I usually play as Junkrat. So it's nice to kind of play support more of us like a healer support, which is different.
Is that who you're maining right now then?
Yeah, I've been just trying to really get good at him. Unless we're losing, then I switch to Junkrat and just push through. Playing a lot of that. Been playing Surviving Mars. Bought that. Needed something, a little bit different to mix up my first-person shooting. I love the game a lot. I played it through like 3 times now. The first playthrough, I was doing really good. I knew a dust storm was coming through, so I held all my people in orbit. I landed them. And as soon as they landed, I had a frost storm come through, but I didn't build any heaters. So everything froze up and started losing oxygen. And then, like, every 10 seconds, it was like, you lost another survivor. You lost another survivor. And there was literally nothing I could do. So they
knew what they were signing up for.
Yeah, I just watched them die. And then it said, congratulations, you have failed Earth. Everybody died.
Congratulations.
I don't think it said congratulations, but
I don't think so either.
It just
that was how you justified it.
Yeah, it just told me I failed Earth. So
you kind of talked to me about this, and you've played this doc, right?
Yes, I like it quite a bit too. Yeah.
Am I right in saying this is a roguelike? Like it's like is it run based?
Run based.
I guess as much as any other kind of sandbox RTS is, I guess, because you can put different modifiers on what you start with and things like that, and the map does like your grid-based map as far as like where stuff is and stuff will change up obviously on different playthroughs. Mm-hmm. So in that sense, I guess it is a little bit, yeah.
But if you die, if you like he said, everybody froze in orbit or whatever. What happens like after that fail state?
You just start.
You're starting from scratch, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. You can pick your ability. You can pick your starting things again. Like I usually pick Rocket Man, so I get 2 rockets, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I enjoy it. It's a nice little like mix up, like I said. And I like building things. It makes me feel like I can run a civilization when I know I can't.
Makes you feel like a god.
Yeah, makes me feel like I can accomplish something.
That's good.
So that's another fun game because I was on City Skylines for a while, but I wanted to play something a little bit more challenging, I guess, because I was just tired of building a house and it was boring. And then the last game that I played, just downloaded, actually when you were away, was Outwards.
What is Outwards?
Really wanting to get into this too, yeah.
So it's basically it's an RPG. You have a starting character. You're either dude or a chick. You're nothing special. You're just a person that I think it's your grandfather or your father died, and you are
spoilers.
It's like the first 5 seconds of the game, and you're stuck to the blood debt. I think it's called. Yeah. So you owe the town so much money. You either have to gather the money within, I think it's 5 days, or you have to get a favor from somebody in the town. If you don't do that, I don't know, I wound up getting a favor, so they let me stay. But I'm pretty sure if you don't, find someone or get the money, they kick you out of the town, and the game's a lot more challenging. The one gripe I do have about the game is when it gets dark out, and your torch doesn't help much. My lantern helps a lot more, but still, it gets too dark sometimes. But it's very in depth. You got to manage your sleep, manage your food, manage your weight when you're in combat. If you don't drop your backpack, you're a lot slower.
That's a pretty cool mechanic. I really liked when I was watching people play this. Mm-hmm. Is that mechanic? Yeah.
What platform is this on, or what are you playing this on? Your Xbox?
I think it's on Xbox, PS4, PC. I think.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Because is it Outward or Outwards?
Outwards.
Outward.
Oh, is it just one?
It's just weird.
Maybe it is.
It says,
maybe it's Outwards. Yeah.
It says platform Microsoft Windows. That's just for Outward. I was trying to just see what it was, but
I'm enjoying it. I'm having fun into it, and I like the fact that when you die, it's not game over. Like I was killed by I forgot what they're from some bandits, and I woke up in a cave with some type of random alien. It looked like, or a monster, and he just said he dragged me away from battle. He's very passive. He's not here to harm anyone. He's just trying to learn.
it's just a good guy.
Yeah. So I like that. Like if you die, you keep your stuff, which is pretty cool too. Then I died to some like fire-breathing ticks. They look like
Ticks?
Yeah, they were just ginormous.
I was just picturing tiny little ticks with like flamethrowers.
No, they were.
Oh
they,
man, that'd be great.
They were about the size of your dog.
All right, fair enough.
And then when I was killed by them, someone from my village found me. I've heard if you die by like bandits, they can bring you to their hideout and you have to escape. So I like the aspect of dying and it takes you somewhere else instead of just populating you back at home or populating you at your last save, which is a cool twist.
So is this a survival game or is it like story based?
Think of it like it's more of an old school RPG because like it definitely has elements like Morrowind in it, where like if you get a quest, you'll get like a brief description in your log, but it will not by no means will like you'll have somebody be like, okay, this place is really far away. You go through this forest, you'll go through this desert and this, but like when you look in your quest log, if you don't write that down, literally all it says is, hey, make your way to this town. Hope you remembered what they told you, kind of thing. Like, so it's very kind of old school in that it does not hold your hand with a lot of the stuff.
That's good though.
So
yeah. So if you look at your map, it doesn't even when you're on your map, you don't even see your marker either.
Yeah.
So that's kind of obnoxious. So you just kind of gotta remember where. Like I was trying to figure out how the layout of town was, and it took me about 5-10 minutes to figure out exactly how the town was laid out, and then I escaped from there. Like Doc said, just remembering the quest line. I didn't write it down, and I remember taking lefts. I took too many lefts and I rounded up in the wrong place. But yeah, I like it.
That drive me insane.
Yeah,
right. Just picture myself going around in circles, getting real angry.
But then also the thing where you're saying they kill you, surely they should take that out and have it that you get knocked out, because if you wake up somewhere new.
Well, you could almost interpret it that way, kind of.
Yeah.
I mean, in a way.
Okay.
I just look at it as if you lose all your health, you don't wake up at home or whatnot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's pretty neat though. It's pretty open. It would appear there's at least 4 different main stories you can do, because like he was saying, like you get your favor for your blood debt, and basically it's you either have an option of like following. You basically have 2 different friends, and one of them goes to one city and one guild, and the other goes to another city and another guild. Or there's this person in the town where you can stay and basically take up her role in that town. Or you can do none of the 3. So I always, from watching streamers, I really got the idea that there was like 4 different pathways you could essentially take.
Yep.
So it seems like the game is pretty deep in terms of like, not only the world and the different maps and stuff you can go to, but just like all the different options you have as far as what you can do.
Yeah, I have the 3 options right now to follow either my friends or listen to the town's lady.
Yeah.
Go with your friends, definitely.
Yeah. That's when I was trying to take my lefts, but took too many.
Fair enough. That sounds pretty cool though. I'll have to check that out. How much was it? Last question.
I think it's 30, I want to say.
I think it's 39.
Okay,
yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
Does it feel like a $30 game?
It has the potential.
Kind of?
It has the potential.
Okay.
It's just how deep into the game before you get frustrated.
How
and don't wanna
involved can
play
I get into it?
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's one of those things like if you've gotten super used to like maybe something like Skyrim, you definitely probably take for granted some of the stuff that helps you with like waypoints and markers and all that stuff.
Yeah, that's the big. I feel like if there were waypoints and markers, I would be a lot further progressed in the game. But with the lack of that, it's just like almost making sure you got to write that stuff down. Or I run back to the bar and she's like, "Did you forget already?" I'm like, "Well, duh.
Apparently,
that's why I'm back here." Oh, damn it!
There it is. All right, cool. I guess before I left, you guys probably talked a whole bunch about Borderlands last episode, I'm assuming.
Well, definitely the actually you were there when we talked about the announcement.
Okay.
I guess
I felt like a lot of people were playing it. I don't even know who the guest was last week. I haven't listened yet.
I know Chaotic's definitely been playing a lot, and I want to say Chaotic and Free Radical and a few. I've been seeing them play it a lot. So
yeah, we talked a bit. Moose was it was one of Moose's games he was playing, going through it.
Okay, cool.
That's right. Yeah.
So yeah, the week leading up to when I left for vacation, I picked up the Game of the Year edition of the first one. I got up to maybe like level 12 or something. That game's real pretty now. Like not that it was
Looks
bad
real
looking
sharp,
before,
yeah.
and I wouldn't have thought like that you could improve Borderlands graphically, I guess, but for whatever reason it feels so much sharper and just better. That game's a lot of fun.
I feel like 2 years after like the X, like we're kind of almost taking for granted when we get stuff in 4K now. We're like, oh yeah, that looks hella sharp now. Like it's like, man, that looks really crisp. Like,
yeah. I'm not too far along into that. I didn't have a ton of time to play it, but I think I'm gonna keep playing that. I'm pretty hyped for Borderlands 3, so I'll probably just end up burning myself out on 1, 2, and then the pre-sequel, and then. But I've never beaten any of these games either, so.
I've only beat the first one. I never beat the pre-sequel or the 2.
Yeah, I can't remember beating them at all.
I think I only played a little bit of Borderlands 1.
Yeah.
Maybe like 4 hours of it at best.
But it was.
I don't think I played all the DLC with Borderlands 1 because I know they definitely brought a lot of DLC to that too.
It was funny because it was before I left, and I asked a bunch of people in Discord. I was like, "So should I get this on my PC because it'll technically be like $10 cheaper, or do I get it on Xbox?" And obviously, everybody was like, "Yeah, get it on Xbox." I was like, "Okay, cool." And then while I was on vacation, something popped up in my little deals section that was like, "Through Newegg, get Borderlands 1 and 2 for like, I think it was like $12 for the PC." And I was like, yeah, all right, sure. I love just throwing my money at stuff. So
We were talking to Moose about how he was kind of like being like trying to more or less guilt you into being like, so yeah, you playing with me on the console, right, Risky? Like,
yeah, so essentially that's exactly what happened. Well done, Moose. You did it again.
So you bought the game twice, is what you're saying?
Yes.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And I definitely had already owned.
I thought you owned it.
the non-4K version.
The disc.
I think I might have owned a disc of it at some point. I got Borderlands all over the place. Never beat any of them. But,
Which one are you not going to touch?
I mean, probably just won't touch any of them until 3 again. That's what'll really end up happening, I'm sure. But who knows? All right, let's throw it over to Chocolate. Looks like you're having an exciting week of Apex Legendary. Have you gotten any wins lately?
I'm so frustrated. I almost got a win.
Uh-oh.
A team of randos are one of our guys dropped out quite early, so me and some guy, we were ploughing through. I managed to get 6 kills, like
Dang.
6
Solid.
good. Oh, I was on fire. I was
Lit.
spraying and people were dying. And then
Fair.
yeah, the circle came down to the last 2 teams. The circle was, so you know where the river is, and then you've got just above, you've got the kind of the bridge that you walk over. I can't name the place. I can't remember what it's called.
Grandmother's house.
To grandmother's house, yep.
Yep.
It's a good call.
The team were down. I was up. I thought I had to make the jump. I made the jump. I went down, and I got murked by 2 of them.
As soon as you landed.
As soon as I landed. The only saving grace, apart from the 6 kills, I managed to get the gold armor achievement. So I had a gold helmet and a gold shield.
Oh, nice.
Oh, that's pretty awesome.
I was ecstatic. I wasn't worried about the 6 kills. I was like, yeah, damn, that's an achievement.
Yeah, I cheated for that achievement. I was playing with Shopa, and he managed to find the 2 golden equipment. So I was like, dude, drop it. Let me put it on so I can get the
Did that
achievement
work?
too.
Oh,
And it
yeah.
did.
Oh, that's awesome.
So yeah, luckily the random that we were playing with didn't run over and pick the stuff up.
True.
But yeah, then I dropped it for him to have it back on there. So I was kind of cheated.
I was hoping the next part of that story was going to be like, so he dropped it and then he got shot in the head by a sniper, but I got the achievement.
That
And I was like,
fantastic.
As soon as he took off the golden helmet, just gets shot in the face.
And then you're like, dude, you got blood sprayed on this. Come on, it was fresh and new.
Yeah.
I don't
I
want
need
this
to use your
achievement
corpse.
covered in blood.
But yeah, I earned that shield as well. I murdered someone for it. But yeah,
Nice.
really happy. Came second, which was a bummer, but I got the achievement. So I'm still winless for how many months now and counting?
Since the game came out, I think.
Yeah, thank you.
Because, yeah, thank you.
Chocolate, I have more wins than you, and I've stopped playing that game after a week, I think. So
Yeah,
Step
I'll
it
catch
up.
you. I will catch you.
It's probably worth talking about. It does seem like that has definitely taken a drop on the viewing charts as far as Twitch goes.
Apex has?
Yeah, it looks like Fortnite has regained its stranglehold on the world of streaming.
It's
so.
managed to pinch quite a few good ideas, which I suppose has
Oh.
worked quite well for.
Yeah, Fortnite's kind of just. I feel like Epic Games is just unapologetic about that now, and it used to kind of bother me at first, but now I'm just like, whatever.
Do
if
what
you're
you
doing
gotta
it,
do.
yeah, if you're doing it and people like it, why not?
It's
know?
competition. That's what. Because are you talking about how they have like that
Respawn van.
The respawn van. That's what they call it.
Yeah.
So it was funny. Apex came out and they had their like respawn stations or whatever, and then immediately after that, Blackout started doing like game modes where you could redeploy if you got killed as long as you made it into the next circle. And then Fortnite is coming in and then doing the same thing. It's just
or like the pinging system. They basically kind of did their version of that as well now
in Fortnite.
So, yeah,
The pinging system's
I
really
think
nice,
so, at
though.
least. Yeah.
Pinging system's the best thing ever invented, I think.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Oh yeah,
unbelievable.
it might have been their biggest contribution to that genre. Yeah.
I'd say so.
Because now when you're in other games, like I was playing Battlefield Firestorm the other day, and like you'd be in a group and you'd be like over there, and you're like, oh yeah, right, I can't freaking say like ping there over there, like that's where I saw something, or like ping an ammo box when you're in a house, being like, hey, I know you need this, come in here and get this, because a lot of games if you're playing with randos, they don't use headsets, so
that's so frustrating, isn't it?
Or if they use headsets, they just really don't want to talk to you.
or it ends up being somebody you really don't want to talk to anyway. So.
Or play really loud music.
Or they're rapping themselves.
Oh,
They're making their own music. That's
Oh,
my
I haven't
favorite.
heard that one.
Oh, that's a good one. Play some Call of Duty with a mic. It's great. It's not great. I lied.
But I guess it goes back to saying like, hey, Fortnite, they've got their development cycle to a T. So hey, if you can iterate that fast, then good on you, I guess, right?
Yeah. So
Bravo.
does it just matter what Ninja's playing? Is that still what this is? Did Ninja go back to Fortnite? I thought he was playing Apex for a little bit.
He was, but I
green
think he was
hair dude?
always Fortnite. Yeah. Which actually I didn't even realize till a while back that he used to play Halo a lot. Apparently, I didn't even know that. But, but yeah, I think he was always more or less with Fortnite. But yeah, he definitely played or is playing Apex still. Maybe, I don't know. But I noticed like Doc the other day while we were talking about streamers. He's all about like his 3 right now is Blackout, Call of Duty, and Firestorm. Like he does it like he calls it like the triple challenge, where he tries to get 3 wins in a row on all 3.
Oh, that's cool.
Wow.
But those are like the 3 I feel like he plays the most for sure.
Did you
Just
talk
refer
about-
to yourself in the third person?
No, I think he's talking about Dr. Disrespect,
Oh.
not himself.
Oh,
was like,
sorry.
okay.
Yeah, I've kind of got a big presence on Twitch. Not a big deal.
I
but,
was watching Doc play.
I was like, wow, man, all right.
This guy's got
I'm
a
kind
big
of
head.
narcissistic, so
Kind of a thing,
yeah.
Um,
I comment my own channel about my gameplay.
It's amazing.
There's got to be somebody out there that does that. That'd be so great.
What I was gonna add, I don't know if you talked about it last week or if you really talked about it at all, but how are you liking Firestorm?
It's fun. They've got a lot of stuff they need to improve. I feel like it's been the story of Battlefield 5 all along. Is that
Step behind.
man? Yeah, what's there is really good, but it is not polished to the degree you want it to be. And the Firestorm is no different. Like the mode itself, like is so cool when you see that wall of flames coming in all the time. It's just such a cool aesthetic. And I've said all along, like if Frostbite doesn't do a lot of things well, as we've seen from a lot of their recent games, but the one thing it does well is big open world maps, and that works super awesome in that Firestorm mode where you have this big area. But like the stuff they need to work on is like inventory kind of sucks, especially when items come out. It's kind of hard to discern between what you're looking at and what you want to go through, and like it makes when you play games like Apex, you really look back at a lot of the games and like be like, these are the games that got it right. These are the games that definitely didn't get it right, and Firestorm is one of those that needs to look at Apex and try to, copy some of that. Doesn't have the
Refine
pinging
is the
system.
word you're looking for.
Refine. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. Like like Fortnite, just like copy. But
Yeah.
but yeah, it's there's some things they could do better. It's still really fun though. I like it, and I would definitely recommend it. It's if you own the game, it's free. And I can't imagine in the next few months we'll probably see Battlefield 5 coming to EA Access. I would assume.
I played one match of Firestorm, and I found it laggy and very, very lethargic.
Yeah, it definitely can. You can definitely hit some games that are like that too. Not unlike the general game mode, or the general team deathmatch in Battlefield 5. So, again, it's one of those things to where I highly, I don't know what's the best way to describe this. I would be very surprised if they do not spin this out into its own game mode eventually, because I feel like if they dedicated a studio to just that, I don't know if the next Battlefield game will just be called Battlefield Battlefield Royale or whatever. Name almost makes itself. But I could definitely see this being their next thing, though, for sure. And much like what Call of Duty does, is I had somebody was kind of talking in Discord the other day, talking about how, like, wouldn't it be cool if Battlefield did what Call of Duty did, and on their map they were like, this part of the map is the old Battlefield Vietnam style part of the map. This part of the map is the old, like, World War II style, and this map is...
just cut it all up and kind of jigsaw it together.
Totally, take from, like, previous Battlefield games. I don't know how you'd really do that with the weapons and stuff, but it was a cool idea. So, yeah, I don't know. I definitely see them making this a standalone, because I don't know how long this survives as being a part of a, $50, $60 game that doesn't have crossplay. So
that's what, because speaking of that, I think Blackout this month, actually, like I think it was the second through the end of the month, they just have the Blackout mode free.
Yeah.
Like free to play.
Until the 26th.
26th? Is that what it is? Okay.
But it was a long time period, though. I was surprised by that. Yeah,
it's a good chunk, enough to get you addicted if you're into it. So
gateway drug.
That'll
totally.
work.
Yeah.
All right, cool. All right, Doc, we're gonna stick with you. Gleaner Heights. I've never even heard of this, so I would like an explanation.
Yeah, it's so. Imagine. Here's how I'm gonna phrase this. Imagine we're gonna do the Zelda timeline. Where if Link saved or Link never went into adulthood and beat the Triforce and all that, you have this timeline, and this is young Link that stayed young Link and went off to do Majora's Mask. So we're going to go this example. So imagine if what started all these farming games was Harvest Moon Back to Nature on PlayStation 1. I've said it before, if you look at the map for that game, people that made all these new farming games literally copied that game. Not a bad thing, it's just we have all these good farming games now because of that. But imagine if you had Harvest Moon Back to Nature, and instead of going down the path towards Stardew Valley, you went down a different path and kind of took different things from that game and almost made it a little bit darker or more like Graveyard Keeper-like.
I'm listening.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what basically Gleaner Heights is. Gleaner Heights is, again, same general town layout, same kind of farming. You have your farm. They do some stuff differently, like much like Back to Nature. Your animals can get sick and die in this versus Stardew Valley. They can't really, or they can be, if you leave chickens outside, they can be like blown away by a hurricane or something. Like it's subtle things, but it's things where you're just like, oh, that's stuff that Stardew Valley didn't take from Back to Nature, but then this game did, and stuff like that. But the thing that makes this game different is that it has more of a, well, I don't know if it's really different, because Stardew Valley definitely had its paranormal or supernatural elements to it, I guess. But I guess this game has more of those, but in a different sort of way. I'm not super far into this game, but it definitely has some, what's the best way to describe it? Kind of just,
More?
Or like
more of that stuff. More of that kind of stuff, like supernatural weird things going on, like when you get into like the mines and combat and like very abnormal stuff happening around the world and things like that. But, aside from all that, it is a lot like Harvest Moon Back to Nature if you didn't go down the Stardew Valley route and instead went down this route, but the farming stuff is all the same.
So is this only on PC right now?
No, it's Xbox PS5. I've actually got it on Xbox, actually. It's $10 too. It's real cheap.
I would say, I'm looking at it on Steam, and here's the brief little blurb on what it is. Experiencing the old school charm of classic farming games with the suburban gothic atmosphere of certain 90s TV shows, along with contemporary game mechanics, farming, crafting, combat, romantic relationships, and mysterious events await.
Yeah, it definitely takes a heavier push into that part, the last part there.
Yeah, well,
but, like, it's even got some cool stuff that Stardew didn't do. Like, in this game, you start out, it'll ask you what your previous job was. So I said veterinarian, which meant that my animals were less likely to get sick. Or I could have said accountant, and I get 5% more cash from everything.
Oh, you should have went that way.
Yeah, or you could say psychologist, which is funny because when you give gifts to people, even if it's one they hate, they'll still like it. So it's kind of got very cool. it's got a lot of stuff like that sprinkled in there that like Stardew didn't do, which is kind of neat and kind of makes this different. I would say it's far more basic than Stardew in the controls and how it looks. You can tell it's a $10 game when you look at it, you can tell. But I will say it definitely punches above its weight as far as the price point. But it doesn't look as nice, and the controls aren't as good as Stardew is. And, yeah, I don't know. It looks more like what an old, probably PlayStation 1 Harvest Moon game would look like.
So, do you know if this is on Switch or has made its way over?
I would be super surprised if it wasn't. I know it is on PS4, Xbox for sure, but I don't know for Switch. But I would be very surprised if it wasn't.
Looks like the perfect Switch game. I mean, what
at
does
least it? Yeah, and at least this one we don't follow it by. I wonder how that's going to run on the Switch. So.
Right, this looks like it belongs there.
It looks like it belongs on that, yeah. So, yeah. But I would definitely recommend it if you like Stardew Valley or Harvest Moon games. You would absolutely like this game. So
I think Stardew's on sale at the moment on the Switch.
Do it.
Oh yeah, that thing is made for the Switch.
I bought too much. I haven't got time to play them.
That's fair.
I hate the fact that this time.
Yeah, you still got to beat Breath of the Wild.
Oh,
no.
Wait, you traded that into GameStop for $3.
Oh, why? It's worth keeping.
I got loads.
We already raked them over the coals for this one.
Oh boy, I'm wow.
Oh boy is right, Lou.
My Switch is for pick up and play and put down. No, I can't be dealing with Breath of the Wild.
Yeah, but it's
anyway.
It's a fresh.
Moving on.
Okay.
Just shut that right down. Just...
All right. The last thing I had to talk about, I downloaded it right before I left for Florida on my Switch, and that game is Furi, Furi, not Y, like I wrote in the show notes. So this game came out like 2 years ago, I guess, and it was on some dude's list on YouTube of like his favorite games ever on Switch, and I was like, okay, whatever. It's on sale right now, and actually, it should be on sale through Thursday. So when this drops, it's like $9 or something right now. This game seems like you're just going. I'm only on level 2 right now, but the levels aren't. There's not a lot to them. You're in an arena and you're having a boss fight.
I was about to say this is the boss rush game, right? Basically.
Yes. I think that's exactly. It's like
because I'm wanting to say I remember when it came out on PS4. I want to say.
Yeah. Instead of going through levels and fighting all the boss's minions and all of that fun stuff. Going up to that, you literally just like, all right, you're in the next dungeon, and you're just fighting a boss. It's like playing Dark Souls if you only were fighting bosses.
No mobs.
Just smash your head against the wall. And I mean, I'm on the second one, and I spent a good 20 minutes trying to memorize all of this thing's moves. It is tough, and that's only level 2. I don't know how far this thing goes. There is an easier mode, which. It was kind of like, hey, if you want to just enjoy the story, which the story is actually kind of cool. It's a good way to push this whole thing along. You like woke up in a prison, and now it seems like you're fighting through different layers to get back down to whatever planet you're from. So when it like zooms out, kind of you're at like this very top layer, which was like the jail cell. So you fight your jailer. And then you're going down to the next one that I'm on, and that's just someone else who had wronged you in some way, and you learn about that. It's a cool little story, but seems tough as nails. And like you said, it's one of those boss rush games.
Do they have different phases, like after you get their health down so far, stuff like that?
Yeah, I think it's got to be health. It's definitely not time, because I've spent a lot of time just like hitting the B button, because the B button is kind of like Hyper Light Drifters or Mr. Shifty's like dodge. Where you just kind of like hit B and then you teleport, so you're like invulnerable.
So it's got like iframes, like a Dark Souls game, where like you can kind of count on this is my window to not take damage in this like swing or something like that. And
you have to utilize it because like some of the bosses will send out these like radial attacks that literally they just make a circle come out and go through the whole
There's
map.
no dodging that.
So you can't get out of the way of it. You have to dodge through it. And getting the timing down on that, it plays like surprisingly well on the Switch. I didn't feel like it was the game cheating me in any way. I felt like I was just incompetent, and that's generally user error exactly. Definitely my fault. But that game's a lot of fun for $9. I'll keep playing it until I break my Switch, I think.
Until either your Switch goes flying across the room or you decide to put it down.
I crush one of those tiny Joy-Cons. Okay. FIFA chocolate. Anything new happening? I thought you quit FIFA. What happened?
No, I'm just doing the journey. I'm just finishing off. I'm trying to mop up.
Oh,
the,
Alex Hunter.
Alex Hunter.
Alex Hunter scores.
And Danny Williams. All right, geezer.
I feel like I'm out of soccer game.
So I'm just trying to finish that off. I'm in the final with Kim Hunter for the World Cup. I'm in the final of the Champions League for Danny Williams, and I need to play my game with Alex Hunter to get into the final. So,
so
wrapping it up.
It's like 3 whole careers for each of them.
Kind of.
Dang.
The one bit that frustrates me. So it's nice that it breaks the game or the story up, because you flick between the 3. So you'll play a few games of Kim's, do some training, then you'll go to Alex, and there's a big, huge story about him. Obviously, I'm trying to think of it all going to his head and his entourage and all this kind of rubbish. And then poor old Danny Williams, who's best friend's now gone to a new team. Get a fiddle and play the fiddle for him. Sad
And then
little boy.
he texts Alex, and Alex is like, "New number, who dis?" Like, it's
Precisely,
weird.
yeah.
Forgets who his friends are.
No, you.
Yeah, what? Who dis? Delete block. It's just very frustrating how they don't do it kind of inside a short period. So all of a sudden, I've progressed all the way to kind of the summer with Kim. Yeah, I'm playing in, which I would imagine it'd be March. No, past March. Yeah, we're looking at April now. Kind of it goes too far, the story, if that makes sense on the timeline.
Can you play like one match of each of them? Like if you keep doing them in order, would it line up better?
It recommends each time, so it'll say, now I recommend you play this story. And
So it doesn't necessarily throw you out. You actually kind of have a say over how much.
Yeah, so I think potentially you could do the whole of Kim's story, then jump on to Danny Williams and do his whole story. However, I'm just going through the recommended part. And the trouble is, the characters obviously at some point meet them, they have a drink or they go out together, so it's really difficult to find. So in Alex's story, his sister Kim comes to see him, but I'm in the summer, and
so that hasn't happened.
Kind of that silly
okay.
time travel rubbish.
That seems like that could get kind of confusing. Yeah,
it just takes you out of the immersion a tiny bit. But it, as I've always said, the journey, the story mode, it's brilliant. It is really, really good. That's my only gripe to it.
I feel like they should have just made the decision to put their foot down and be like, this is the order you need to play it, and like this will line up perfectly.
They should have lined up slightly better, yeah. But like I said, it's good. The trouble I think with Kim's, obviously, they focus on her going to the World Cup, so potentially they should have tacked her season or her story mode on the end of Danny and Alex's. However, then you're kind of turning into was she just an afterthought type scenario?
Because some of those things could be like a year apart, potentially, right?
Well, not a year apart. You're looking at a good few months.
Yeah, still months.
So,
at least.
Okay.
Yeah, so it does. Like I said, it does take you. I think at one point I was having dinner with the 3 of them. Yet she was over in France playing.
She took her private jet.
Well,
Chocolate's like, wait a second.
Yeah, I'm like, oh goddamn, how did this happen?
Didn't know the English national team women's were paid so well, private jets and stuff.
No, she's she's his American sister.
Oh, see, this is what I get for not playing through all 3 of those games.
Oh no.
Yeah, so she's his half sister. His daddy went to the US and found himself a baby mama.
Nice. Did you get to play
was
that out?
Was that in FIFA last year or?
Yeah, you just tap X for that one.
As fast as you can.
That's
no, we
a
don't
shame.
need to go into how fast you have to hit the X button. Sorry.
I stopped myself.
Last question I've got, Chocolate. Does it seem like, I don't know, maybe this would be too cheesy or too cliche, but does it seem like there's anything coming to a head in terms of like Danny and Alex facing off against each other ever?
I think this is it. So I think it's going to culminate to Danny and Alex facing off in the Champions League final.
Oh.
And I think it's going to be a case of you have to make the decision, who do you want to play as, the rising star of Alex or the poor little boy Danny. So,
you gotta play Alex, right?
Oh yeah, I'm playing Actually, this is another thing that frustrates me. You can't change your formation, so I prefer playing as Danny, even though he's crap.
Because of his position.
Oh, position.
Well,
yeah.
the formate, yeah. So the tactic suits my style of play, whereas with Alex, it's really difficult to try and get space and to create more chances.
I'm calling it right now. It's going to be the end of Warrior. You know, the two brothers fighting in the MMA. And, like, Alex is going to be, like Danny's going to get his leg broken, and Alex is, like, limping him off the field. It's just going to end credits. Just, you know, it's going to be a feel-good moment.
What a good movie, though.
Oh, such a good movie, man.
All right. Well, hey, Chocolate, I wish you and Alex and Danny and sister. I already forgot her name. Kim. The best of luck.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Nothing.
I know we're still talking about. Actually, never mind. Go on to the next game. I'll talk about this after last when we're finished with games.
Well, Doc, I think
Behold.
we are done with games besides Gamepass Roulette. So if you have something you want to add before that, now's your time.
It's how excited are you guys for Game of Thrones?
That's tonight.
Yeah.
Lewis,
I'll be watching that
Game of
tomorrow.
Thrones, so
what did you say, Lou?
Whoa.
Speaking of Michael Loud?
I don't watch Game of Thrones.
Oh,
Who invited you on the podcast?
I'm
Oh
sorry.
man, I thought I knew you.
I
Lou.
just know winter's coming, and I hate
Winter's
winter.
here, bro.
I hate winter.
It's here.
Dude.
No, it's spring now. Look at it.
Hey, which side are you on, the living or the dead, Lou? Decide now.
I don't know. I'm obviously living, so
Hey, you know what?
I
You just answered it right there. You just answered
I
it.
did.
Yeah, I'm pumped though.
I feel you should show Lou some of the pictures of the naked bodies, and he'll be
Danny,
in there.
Daenerys,
Yeah,
Stormborn,
Not even
first
just
of her
her.
name.
Oh my god.
I mean,
There's so much
I
nakedness.
watched one of the episodes,
It's
and
HBO.
I watched a dude bang his mom, then kick a kid out of a window.
Oh, yeah, that was the first
sister.
episode. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
what
it was
a
his
what a
sister.
great way
Yeah.
to bring people into that show. Just some incest and kicking children
Incest
out windows.
and
Yeah.
killing kids. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
just right off
You
the
know,
bat.
I mean, it could be interesting, but I was like, no.
It's kind of weird.
How do
I
I
don't
feel
know.
about incest? You know, she was hot. I don't know.
He was an attractive man.
I don't have a sister, so I don't know what that's like. You know,
Oh, here we go.
Whoa.
puts me too far away. I can't relate, so maybe that's why I'm not watching.
That's good. Hopefully, most people listening can't
That's as
relate.
good a reason as any not to watch, I guess.
Yeah, I 100% give you the pass now. That reminds me of like the first episode of Black Mirror was about like the prime minister having to bang a pig.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
like, what a way to get people into a show. Like, if that didn't turn people away, I don't know what was going to. So
My wife keeps telling me to watch that. I haven't watched it yet.
good.
you don't have to watch that first episode. I still think it's a good
Oh
episode.
yeah, you could maybe miss that one.
But Chocolate, that show is so good, and you literally could just be like top 5 Black Mirror episodes and just watch those, and it doesn't matter because they're all disconnected from
Yeah.
each other. So
Yeah,
oh,
totally.
it's so good.
I started watching that robot thing that you mentioned
Also,
a while back.
some
Mr.
of
Robot?
that is good. No, not Mr.
Not Mr.
Love, Sex,
the
and
other
Love,
one.
Sex, and Robots.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
weird.
I still need to watch that too. Yeah.
See, that's another thing where it's like I could have just given you like 5 of them to watch, and that would have been a good cut it off point. Because once you have to watch the yogurt takes over the world episode or whatever it's called, that would make me
I'm
stop
in.
watching it. No, Doc, you're not. You'll never get those 6
No,
minutes.
it's like no, you
back.
don't understand.
Oh, poor yogurts.
Yeah, poor yogurt, poor us. The yogurt takes over. Yeah, Game of Thrones, pumped.
Can't wait.
All right. So next, let's move on to some Game Pass Roulette. All right, this is Game Pass Roulette, where every other week we roll the dice on a Game Pass game and let you know if it's a hit or a miss. This last game we had was Hue. Hue is a platformer, and the hook here that is different than other platformers is that you're slowly collecting colors, and then these colors are used in puzzles. So like if you selected red on your color wheel, it would make it so all of the red objects on the map, like in that room, disappear completely. And I think there's, how many colors are there? 8 maybe, or
At least I think
maybe
yeah.
like 8. How are you guys enjoying this? Doc, what first impressions?
It's a indie platformer with a unique twist, but for what it is, I think it's pretty good. I mean, I'm not probably the biggest fan of these type of games, but I had actually played and beat this before it came to we did this segment Game Pass Roulette, and I like what it's doing, and it definitely makes some interesting puzzle mechanics on the whole. Its whole shtick is that you'll have potentially different or multiple things going on in a segment or room, and you kind of have to work through what are what colors and what you need to do to basically get from point A to point B. But I think they do a really good job of making that a interesting mechanic, though, for sure. It's I like the way it looks too. It's an interesting kind of pretty basic 2D kind of like your character's just this black kind of outlined
Kind of
object
reminds
character.
me
But
of Limbo until all the color
actually,
kicks in.
Yeah, a lot.
Actually, it reminds me a lot of that. Actually, in terms of the way your character kind of handles and looks. Totally, yeah. But like the game definitely gets more challenging later on when you have to incorporate more. Early on you're like, here's one color, here's two colors, here's it's pretty basic with what you can do early on. But then as the game progresses, it definitely gets more of like, okay, you gotta think about what you're doing, and kind of the platforming gets tighter and stuff like that. So
that's
I liked it though. Yeah.
one thing. So when you're selecting colors in the color wheel, you do that with your right thumb, like it's on the right analog stick.
Yeah.
As soon as you start to push that stick, everything slows down. And what's up?
Well, I was about to say, which it pretty much has to at some points. Otherwise, you wouldn't even be able to, some of the puzzles would be too difficult if it didn't do that.
Yeah, 100%. And one thing because I usually like to write down a few notes as I'm going through these, but one thing I noted early on was that I felt like how much it slowed me down was way too much until I had 8 colors unlocked, and I had to switch colors like 3 times as I'm falling from the ceiling trying to avoid like different colored laser beams. So if you think about that, say you're falling from the sky, there's a red laser, so you have to click over to red quick, and then there's a blue laser under it, so you have to quickly click over to the blue, and like so on and so forth. The time, like how slow you actually go, made a lot more sense as I progressed further into the game. But right off the bat, I was like, man, this thing really is forgiving. And then at the end, it's like, this is exactly what it needs to do. Otherwise,
this would be impossible.
It would be impossible.
Otherwise.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
As far as how far I got into it, I think I had collected all my colors, had gotten on the ship to go over to start going up the mountain. For anyone who's playing, that's kind of vague, but that's where I'm at. So I have done some of the puzzles where you use all 8 colors. It definitely gets super challenging. Chocolate, how did you fare with this? What'd you think?
I liked it. I enjoyed it. I got, I think I only unlocked 3, maybe 4 colours, and I got frustrated with the jumping.
The actual platforming parts.
To be fair, also like Risky was saying about the slow motion part, that can be kind of jarring too if you do that mid jumping in terms of.
That's what frustrates me. So jumping and then trying to get the right colour to land on the correct platform to miss the beam. So I think one of them was columns, and half the column was say red, white, and green, and then the bottom half was red, white, and green. But you had to change the pillars.
Yeah.
So you could jump on them, however, not hit the top half of the pillars. I know that kind of doesn't make sense. But
yeah, if you've played the game, I think it kind of makes sense.
I streamed it, and it will be on YouTube.
Yes,
on Tuesday
I can't wait to
this
see the
drops.
frustration.
Frustrated chocolate is the best chocolate.
Well, it's not. But the game is brilliant. I love the mechanic, and just like you said, Risky, that slowdown at first when you've only got one colour, you're like,
like why?
Is this what it's going to be like? This is ridiculous.
Game's going to be a breeze, Gunman Clive all over again.
Yeah, and then I think it was when the rocks were falling, you were like, oh, okay, yeah, it's not as slow as I thought it was. And then once they introduced that third colour, you're like, okay,
starting to make more sense.
This is can you slow down a little bit more?
I will say those are some of my favorite parts. Is when anytime boulders were falling towards me and I had to quickly switch colors as the boulders were coming right at me. That was a lot of fun. I like that.
Yeah.
I think I got to the part where you had to jump over the boulders and flick the colours just so they didn't knock you.
Yep.
And go up the ladder. That's where I stopped. I stopped playing.
Yeah. So I mean, all these platformers nowadays need to be doing something different, and this is a cool little hook, I think. The color mechanic's pretty awesome.
Yeah, they like I'm always impressed when people take a pretty standard genre out there and add a very unique twist to it that works well, and this definitely does.
And like the story wasn't, as far as I was concerned, wasn't like crappy or anything. It was
it was competent. Yeah,
It was very gut wrenching as well, wasn't it? I was trying to think. So I said it on stream, but I can't think now what I actually said. But you could see there was something more to the story. So it had its, this is the story, but it felt like there was a deeper meaning to it.
Yeah, like the mom, because Hugh is the name of your character, and you're trying to find your mom who is stuck in some weird colorless dimension, I guess, and you're trying to get there. So even just that little bit, like knowing that at the end of this I might get to that dimension and see like what it's all about and like rescue mom and stuff, is enough that I'm gonna keep playing this. Because of vacation and stuff, I just started playing it this morning, but I played like 5 hours straight. I couldn't put it down.
Damn.
So I'm definitely gonna be finishing this one. Yeah, Lou, you didn't. Did you get to play this?
Play it. Well, you told me about like mid-afternoon.
I would say I just told you that.
So I started downloading it, and I did wind up falling asleep though. But when I was downloading, I was watching the game previews for it and everything. I do like the idea of it, and like Doc was saying, with the color changing, and you guys just looked really cool. I love the concept of it. I could see myself also getting frustrated like Chocolate, but on the line of Cuphead frustration. And
I watched you stream Cuphead once.
Yeah, Cuphead, it was not for me.
WaterLou frustrated is also pretty great.
Nothing shameful about that. That's a tough game.
That's true.
But this one looked a little bit simpler, but when you guys were talking about like with all those colors and everything, I could definitely see that getting annoying. But yeah, I love puzzle games like that. I can see myself playing it, and now that it's downloaded.
Now you can actually start.
I might pick it up, when I'm bored and want something a little bit more challenging than Yoshi's World, but not something as challenging as some other games out there.
True.
This is definitely one of those games where it's like, like we've said before, there's definitely some junk on Game Pass, but this is one of those that's like, this definitely belongs on Game Pass. It's a good game that a lot of people might not have tried otherwise, and it's pretty good.
Well, hey, let's get to that part of Gamepass Roulette. Doc, we'll start with you. For you, is this a hit or a miss?
A hit, yeah. I mean, like I said, I played it before, but I was glad. I was very glad to play it again, and I haven't beat it a second time, but yeah, I like it. I think it's a definite hit.
Chocolate, how about you?
Hit for me. Definitely going to carry on playing it. It is nice, and it does break up a bit of gameplay for me with Apex and FIFA and stuff like that.
Yeah, and it's definitely a hit for me too. This is a game where if it wasn't in Game Pass, if I had actually paid attention to this, it was something I would have bought for sure. So definitely a hit for me. All right. Okay, so last week we had talked about. Sorry about the awkward silence. I was trying to think about what I was going to say next. Perfect. We talked about this a little bit a couple weeks ago about how we were going to change up Game Pass Roulette a little bit, and then I think we were just having a hectic last couple of weeks here. What we're going to be doing going forward is we're going to have members of the community. We're going to set up polls on Twitter, Discord, wherever. We're going to let people submit games from Game Pass that they want to see played, and then those games are the ones that are going to go into the hopper from now on. This will make it so that we don't end up with junk. Or so we at least end up with games that potentially people want to see brought into this segment. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this week off of Game Pass Roulette. We're not going to pick a new game tonight. What we're going to do Tuesday, I'll put up a poll or just put up an announcement in Discord. We'll also do the same, Twitter, Instagram, wherever. And we'll give everybody a chance to put in their games. We're going to do that for a week. And then next week's episode, we'll actually start up this Game Pass Roulette. So you'll still have your standard 2 weeks to play the game, get feedback in, whatever. But hopefully it'll be a more curated list, and hopefully we won't end up with things like Sonic and Knuckles again.
What's wrong with Sonic and Knuckles?
Well, hang on.
Or Hello Neighbor, sorry.
We technically can't. They took out Sonic and
Oh, well,
Knuckles.
perfect.
So,
Thank God.
unfortunately.
So no one
Pour
can
one out.
vote for that. And
no trolling.
yeah, if I
I'm looking at you, Chin Doctor.
right, I can't wait to see some of the things these guys are going to put in here. Like, oh, this will be funny. Watch them have to
Barbie's
play
Island
this.
Adventure. Dang
Yeah,
it.
exactly. yeah, so tune into Discord and on socials. We'll get that stuff out to you guys. And the next week, you can expect a new game for Game Pass Roulette.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mind blown.
Mind blown. All right. With that, let's get into some news. All right, Doc, what is in the news this week?
First off, I want to hear your guys' best James Earl Jones impression of Darth Vader.
Luke, I am your father.
That's not bad. Okay, all right. Good enough.
Oh, here we go.
Chocolate's got his CPAP on again.
You gotta take that
That
off.
was the best I could do.
that wasn't bad, man. Pretty good. All right. So we had we knew that EA was gonna get out there and announce alongside Respawn their new Star Wars game coming out this year. Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order is the name of it. So you guys, fair to say, probably pretty excited about this with. Even before the announcement, probably.
Most definitely.
Yeah, I could say I was
Okay.
excited.
So it's been a long time since we've had a single player Star Wars game, right? I mean, I can't even. What would even be the last
You're not
one?
counting
I'm
the
trying to
campaign
think.
from Battlefront 2?
Jedi Academy.
I don't even. Yeah, I don't know. I don't even. Jedi Academy, maybe that might be the last one. I don't know.
What was the one on the 360?
Oh no! You know what?
Force Unleashed?
Yep.
Those two?
Yes.
Oh,
Unleashed
you're right.
2?
That probably
Those-
is it.
yeah.
That's probably
Those
it.
are also very
Yeah.
good too.
Those are pretty good, yeah. So, it's been a while, needless to say. So let's get a few things out of the way first here. So this is set to release November 15th. We got some tidbits of info to get out of the way. It's going to be 4K on the Xbox One X. It is EA got out in front and said this, which, can't help but laugh, but it is, hey, get excited, guys. No microtransactions, no multiplayer. Will be single-player campaign only.
Boy.
Woo!
Actually excited.
Yeah, to which I also feel like, man, it's some down times at EA when you got to get out and really pump the drum on that.
When those are the two biggest bullets of your brand new Star Wars video game.
You see a sweaty executive with sweaty pits get out on stage and be like, guys, no microtransactions, none, no multiplayer. It's gonna be great. It's like, geez, it's been low point for EA. But anyways, it's going to come with two versions, a $60 standard edition, $70 deluxe edition, and you might be like, well, if there's no microtransactions, what the heck is in the deluxe edition? So they're basically going to have a la kind of Devil May Cry 5. They're going to have a behind-the-scenes making-of videos that will come with the deluxe edition, which sounds pretty cool. Could be pretty cool.
Well, wait, you could get that on YouTube, surely.
Eventually.
Well,
or
that's
the pirate
also the
bay.
other part. Yeah, exactly. You could most definitely get that by other means, if we're being honest. Although, if you pre-order either version, you will get additional custom skins. I have to assume that'll be a lightsaber color and maybe an outfit or something, but apparently the deluxe edition will have additional exclusive skins if you get that version. So, no microtransactions, but they couldn't help themselves with the skins and stuff.
I think it seems fair, though.
Yeah, I can't be that upset about that. So, anyway, so all that's out of the way. Let's get to the meat of this story and what we learned about what this game is. So, players are acquainted with Cal, who is the main character of this story. You play a character named Cal on Bracca, which I guess is the planet or the area on the planet he is working, which is depicted as a fresh, out-of-the-box new Star Wars planet and one of a few new areas presented in the amusement. I don't know what they were. Trying to say.
I feel
Sorry,
like
probably
amusement
should've
might have been a bad translation.
I should have read through this. Yeah, I don't know if they meant the amusement park world that is. I don't know what they were trying to say there. Cal is endeavoring to avoid the Empire on display. However, in the wake of uncovering his force powers, which if you watch the teaser, it kind of happens as he saves a buddy of his in a work-related accident. He winds up on the run once more. As per Respawn, like Cal, players will make various new companions through the span of the diversion. One of which is a buddy called
Siri?
Siri?
I don't know.
Is that? Yeah. So Siri probably. There will be some commonplace faces that show up as well. However, the studio held back before saying precisely
Do you
who.
think this is going to be like the bad Battlefront 2 cameos of like...
Oh, I hope
oh
not.
My God, that was so cringy.
Oh, man,
it was just like, how many
can you
can we fit
imagine?
in this story? And they were all like pretty bad.
I'm glad you agree with me with that because like
Ugh.
I always hate it when these movies don't try to do their own thing and are like, oh, isn't it weird that Darth Vader made C-3PO? That's super weird, right? Crazy. It's like actually it'd have been fine if that hadn't been the case. Like, I hate it when they do stuff like that though. It's just like, oh, everything's connected in all these weird ways, like, or it doesn't.
So
have
yeah,
to
we'll
be.
see what these commonplace faces are.
Yeah,
Who they are.
yeah. Oh, that's weird. The Millennium Falcon just flew by the screen right in front of us. That's crazy.
What? It's just sitting in a
who
junkyard
would've
over there.
Anyways, so yeah, again, your main character is called Cal, and he is a Jedi that survived the orders of
Order 66.
Yep. Now,
66,
does he know he's
and
a Jedi, or does he just? Okay.
he does. Yes, he knows he's a Jedi. He is trying to not make it known that he is a Jedi. He is basically just trying to live. The trailer makes it seem that he is trying to do his best to live out a normal life and not be caught and killed by the Empire.
Because you said he like when he was reaching out to save his buddy that's falling off of it, like almost like he didn't know he could save the guy at that time.
Yeah, I almost got the impression that like it was one of those do or die moments of like, this is my friend, and if in order to not get caught, I'm going to have to let him die, and he obviously
Saves him.
Chooses to save him, which is kind of a cool way to do that in a game like this. It's kind of like, yeah, that seems like a realistic thing that
A Jedi would
aside
do.
from the space magic, the realistic thing.
So
that can
is
happen.
our first commonplace face the Sarlacc pit?
Which, by the way, if you've not watched the teaser, so I guess he's working with this scrap, like almost a junkyard scrap team of like just breaking apart this crash Star Destroyer, and I guess they're breaking it apart to sell it for parts and stuff. And you see this moment happen where these big cables, suspensory cables that are holding the piece of the ship you're on starts to break. And, of course, your buddy is sliding down the deck, and he falls off. But when he falls off the edge, it literally looks like an open mouth of a Sarlacc pit is just waiting to envelop him. And I'm just like, I guess that's
there it
what
is,
caused the
the
earthquake.
first cameo. There it is.
Yeah. So, apparently they're just everywhere. They're on sand planets, so, just everywhere. Anyways, moving on. On the Empire side, they have characters like the Second Sister, who is depicted as one of the Emperor's tip-top inquisitors, and in that capacity is chasing down Cal to quench him. Really interesting words that this article used to describe
I feel like he's
this.
very thirsty.
Really wish I had read through this a couple times before. Nearby her are Purge Troopers, which, again, having watched the teaser, it looks like they have the I think they're called, like, maybe I'm thinking of Knights of the Old Republic, vibro blades, but they're these staves that can apparently, I get the idea they can go one-on-one with lightsabers and not be destroyed. So it looks like they're holding, like, two-handed staves that have that look to them. Or I don't know, it's that chrome stormtrooper in the movie had one of them, I feel like. Anyways, yeah, so that's what those guys look like. All black, pretty menacing. And they are depicted as alarming, uncommon Imperial powers prepared to search out Jedi and help the Inquisitors. So clearly it sounds like you're on the run. It sounds like these guys are out to hunt you down and kill you. They definitely acted like the story was going to evolve into something bigger in terms of what becomes of Cal and how he fits into the story. But also I get the idea from the video, and you guys can correct me on this too. I definitely get the idea that this is between episode 3 and 4, I guess.
Yeah, after Order 66, and it seemed like some time had gone by. So, I mean, anything after 2.
Well, it
Or
had to
after
a
2
decent
at the
amount of
very
time,
least,
'cause
yeah.
If he survived Order 66, I'm assuming he was a younger kid at least.
Yeah.
Possibly, yeah.
Weren't
So,
the
I mean...
younglings, younglings and the guards the only ones left at the...
He was
Oh, no, all those younglings got...
murdered by Anakin.
They got
by Anakin, yeah.
Chopped up real good.
He went from 0 to 10 on the dark side real quick.
It's killing
so-
kids and do that to you.
But yeah, so first off, what did you guys think about the video as far as the teaser?
I got me excited. I'm not gonna lie. I had a little goosebumps here and there. I'm just I wish there was a little bit of gameplay going on, but what they showed was good enough to get me excited for the game.
I think that was one thing to note, is that there was not any gameplay in this.
No.
So
Right.
tough to tell. I mean, you can really just judge the story and where it looks like it's going at this point, I feel like.
Definitely got some cool-looking bad guys, for sure.
I feel that's what they did with Battlefront 2. They just teased the story. There was no actual gameplay.
Yeah.
I don't know whether that's like a prerequisite of how they throw these games out now.
I would be surprised if we didn't see some gameplay from E3 at I would assume probably the Xbox conference,
Or EA. Or, yeah, I guess it might.
Oh,
EA
that's
Play
right. I
might
keep
show up.
forgetting EA has theirs. Yeah, I keep forgetting that.
Yeah, you're definitely right. That's where we'll see a good
Something for it.
15-minute chunk of gameplay or something. It sounded like, from what I had seen, is that like the lightsaber combat was going to be pretty intense and like more involved than just like hacking X over and over and over and over. So I think depending on how that combat is, it could be a lot of fun. If you've played any of those older Star Wars games, like wielding a lightsaber, pretty powerful thing.
Great feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like that never gets old in video games. Like that is a cool thing to do. And if I boot that game up and like I open up a skill tree and it's all these different force powers I can pick, and I'm sold day one.
Sounds so good.
Like give me those RPG Jedi elements and I am in.
Just Witcher with lightsaber and Force.
Yes,
Oh,
please.
CD
Yes.
Projekt Red's next game needs to be a Star Wars game.
What was Disney thinking? Come on. Well, you gave it to EA and DICE. Instead, you should have gave it to CG Project Red. Like, come on.
And 13 years later,
Man.
we would have the best Star Wars game ever created.
God, can you imagine the dark storyline that they would have
Can you
gave us in a
imagine
game
the
like
amount
that?
of just Jedi boobs everywhere?
Oh,
Sarlacc
lots.
boobs.
Lots. Yeah,
Twi'lek.
lots of female Jabba the Hutts.
Oh, just what I want to see naked.
Well, you know, they don't always give you what you want.
That's true.
All right, moving on. We've talked about over the past couple months about the rumors of the discless Xbox One S, and we're finally getting some concrete information. We'd been, a lot of the rumors had speculated that it was getting announced in April, coming out in May, and it really seems like they're going to announce it at Inside Xbox, which is going to air later today if you're listening to this on day of release. But the details we have right now as of this weekend is that it will launch for €229, which if they go by their standard pricing, even though it is a conversion rate, has normally popped over 1-to-1 for US, so it seems like $229 US. With 3 games, Sea of Thieves, Forza Horizon 4, and Minecraft. With a May 7th release date. First thing I want to ask you guys, and lastly, a 1 terabyte hard drive, which makes sense. A diskless version would have a bigger hard drive. What do you guys think about that price point? And the last thing I'll say is this is before any deals happen. As we know, MSRP is one thing, but the deals that you end up getting on the regular is a different thing. What do you guys think about this?
It's a good price point, I think, to start with. I mean, it's, as you say, it's the 1S, isn't it? So it's
What's the
1
I think
terabyte
it's-
1S.
what's that MSRP on a 1S right now? Do you have any idea?
Let me look that up actually, because I want to say it's actually $299, or no, maybe it's $249, maybe.
So
But
I don't know.
it's not that big of a difference. Yeah, like when I first saw the price, I actually thought it was higher than I was expecting it to
And
be.
This Xbox doesn't it's the same size as the 1S. So you're not getting like a smaller, more compact unit.
It's hard to tell on the picture they had, which I don't know if this is.
Have they not talked about the size of it at all?
No, not at all. But the picture, at least the one they got, that looks like they got from a retailer, looks like it is ever so slightly less wide if you do a controller on it comparison. I don't know
So
if
that's
that's
good.
actually the case though, but yeah.
Because disk drives aren't the biggest things in the world, so it's not like you're gaining a ton of space.
I don't know how much no. Well, I mean, if you think about it in force, basically the width of a 1S is basically 2 disk drives. So, but the bigger problem is that if you took out the disk drive, it's not a matter of that. It's a matter of you would have to have a smaller motherboard in general to shrink the size.
Everything would just have to be smaller. Yeah,
Totally.
That's true.
Yeah.
So looking at it UK wise, it's more than the 1S over in the UK.
Yeah. So see, that makes me think that this. I'm wondering how accurate that MSRP is because I'll be honest. When I first heard this story, I thought they were going to come out super aggressive and
Like
price it at like
150?
$149.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, I
exactly.
thought-
150. 150 was exactly what I thought it would be. Totally.
The thing is, though, then you've got 3 games on top. Sea of Thieves is free, though. I don't know how
Well,
you get.
I mean, that's free. With
How
Game
do you
Pass.
give Sea of?
Yeah, that's the thing about this too is that
Do you
I
think
feel
this
like
would have been better bundled with like a 3-month subscription to Game Pass or something?
100%. Yeah, 100%. I feel like that's what this is made for. Totally. I mean, I feel like you price this at $149 with 3 or let's say aggressively 6 months of Game Pass, and you've got a winner at that point.
For all the Sony and like PC people who never wanted it or needed an Xbox 150 plus
It's hard to turn it
100,
down at that
200
point. Yeah.
games at this point. Like, how do you say no to that?
Or
But
a
even-
machine day one with Game Pass, you get all the Xbox first party games. You know?
Right.
Or putting it at this price and doing 6 months Game Pass, 6 months Xbox Live.
Yeah, that,
Totally.
I don't
Well,
know. I would like to see what their production costs. Like, disk drives aren't the most expensive thing in the world. I don't know how much money they're saving here, not having to worry about that, I guess.
And it is worth noting that we don't know this yet. You know, Inside Xbox will come out later today for you listening, and it could be that this is, in fact, cheaper than that. You know, this is just the estimated from a retailer.
True.
And it's still worth noting that this will definitely have a lower MSRP than the standard Xbox One S, and they never sell at MSRP at this point, you know. Like,
Yeah.
if you go to Great Xbox Deals Reddit, every day you can get like an Xbox One S for like 180, 170 with like 2 or 3 games or like 2 controllers or something, you know. So
maybe not worth it at MSRP, but if you keep an eye out for a deal, this will probably be the best way to get into Xbox if you don't care about a disc drive.
Yeah, if you're just looking for an easy way to guaranteed all Xbox exclusives, that it's a no-brainer for this with Game Pass.
And it's the One S, so you're still getting HDR.
Well, and I would argue because of how late this is coming out in the Xbox cycle and how we've all but confirmed we're getting a new Xbox next year, I would be super, super surprised if you could not run xCloud on this to play next-gen games.
Yeah, I mean, that makes
So,
perfect sense. If I can do it from
yeah.
my Android phone or iOS phone, I
at
better
that
be able
point,
to
it's
do
just-
it on my One S.
Yeah, at that point, it's like, can it run the app, you know?
Yeah,
That's all it
exactly.
is. So, anyways, so that we'll probably we'll learn more about that on Inside Xbox. Next up, this bit of news is a real heartwarmer out there for the console wars. So Destiny 2 on Xbox and PC for a very short time period, Xur was selling a PS4 exclusive gun to everybody, whether or not you had PS4 or not.
Thanks, Zer. I think.
right?
Yeah, Bungie got out and had to correct Xur and say that that's a mistake. If you've already bought it, it'll stay in your inventory, but you won't be able to equip it until September when the exclusivity deal ends.
That's so bad, dude.
That's crazy.
Man, this really brings home the point how dumb these exclusive deals are sometimes.
How do you let that slip? Like, if you're Bungie, how do you let that weapon or piece of armor get into the hopper into like the
Yeah,
Xbox
I don't
and
know.
PC? That's so.
That's a
Oh god,
it's a great question.
That's crazy.
that does nothing positive for that
no.
game and company,
No.
and just ugh.
the
so
whole
bad.
line of where they're like, "Oh, but you'll get it in September." It's like, man, this is really dumb, guys.
Just putting the gun on layaway, you know?
Yeah,
Basically.
pretty much. Once you've made all your
Yes.
payments.
Yeah,
Once
Xur
they've
gave
done
you
this-
a alpha version of the gun, I guess.
Once they did the split, though, you think all of a sudden this would be.
And it's
Well,
contracts.
Presumably, yeah, there was contracts made with timelines, and that's what this is pertaining to. I think the bigger thing to watch for is what they do with Destiny 3 and if these shenanigans continue with that.
If they're smart, they won't.
Yeah, if they want any goodwill at all, they'll, especially with PC player base now, those people I feel like, you know, Xbox players have, for over the years, PS4 and Xbox, we've kind of gotten used to this is how things work. PC people aren't used to that, so they're the ones that are going to really be coming at you with pitchforks and torches if you're doing this shenanigans. So, yeah, moving on. You guys want some fresh new PSN names?
Yes, please. I know
Well,
Moose
you can
does.
do them.
Oh, boy.
Moose.
I know Orange Crusher does.
Oh, Orange Crusher. That's a great name, by the way.
I think it's something like that.
So you can officially, starting now, change your PSN ID name. And I know you're probably asking yourself, well, that's great. Why is this even a story? Well, it's a story because, as we had covered when this went into beta, it's not all rainbows and unicorns when you change your PSN ID name. It can be, but there are some warnings that go along with it. So let's get out a few of the things out of the way first before we talk about the warnings. The cost is $10 if you have PSN with no PlayStation Plus, $5 if you have PlayStation Plus. Just like Xbox Live, the first one's free. It is not compatible with PS3 and Vita, and they have a cutoff point on certain PS4 games that it is compatible with. Although from what I could tell, it's pretty much most PS4 games. Any ID that you use or have used is tied to your account. So let's say your name is Orange Crusher and you go make Orange Tangerine. Somebody can't go and get Orange Crusher. That's actually still controlled under your account. So for all those people out there thinking there's going to be a lot of new names open up free, that's not going to be the case here. Pretty much if you've ever tied an email to a name, that name is tied to that email, and it is not opening up.
That was like on Microsoft. Like when I looked up Risky because that was the first one I tried getting, and then I looked at the account and it hadn't been active in like 5 years. I was like, are you kidding?
Well, Xbox, though, recently did the thing to where any accounts that weren't active for so many years, they freed up those names.
Yeah, that's true. I didn't try.
You should have checked it out at that time. Yeah.
I'm Risky the kid now.
Now, can you say if you change your PSN name, can you go back to it since you still technically own it without cost?
Yes, you can.
Okay.
And they actually make it look like or sound like that actually is a pretty easy way to do it. So unlike Xbox, you can actually go back to a name. So I guess one of the good things about the way this system works, you can normally say, well, that sucks that names don't free up. But because they don't free up, you can actually contact customer support and for free go back to a name that you previously had. So there is that aspect to it, which is better,
That's nice.
Well, that's great for trolling online.
Yeah, I guess so.
Back and forth with your
Well,
gamer
I don't know how often they let you do that. There might be a limit as well. I don't know if they'll let you like every other day call and be like, "Hey, today I want to be this."
I would assume.
like, switch me.
Yeah, there's got to be something in place there.
Yeah. So that's all the kind of the basic details out of the way. So if you go actually online to Sony's website to change your name, the first thing you'll notice is that you are hit with a ton of warning screens that they want to make sure you are aware that everything might not work out perfectly with all of your games if you do this. Now, first thing I'll say is that there is nothing that's going to prevent you from any game you own, you'll still own that game. DLC you own, you'll own the DLC. But in certain circumstances, it will straight up erase your progress on some games.
Perfect.
Those are called critical issues, is how Sony put those games. Those are critical. And I do have now this is the initial list. They said this will be updated as they learn more things. Of course, this has been in beta for a while, so I would hope that this list doesn't get much larger. Yeah. But so far, the games that are under critical issue is Disc Jam, Just Dance 2017, Little Big Planet 3, MLB 14 The Show, MLB The Show 16, MLB The Show 15. Sucks if you're into MLB The Show, apparently. Onrush, Golf Club 2, which is that kind of sucks.
I would say that's probably the only
really recent, I guess.
Yeah, only game I see people getting mad about. I don't know if people are playing these other ones.
And Worms Battlegrounds. Now, there was a much, much larger list of less critical issues, which can revolve around anything from leaderboards not being active to various things in game that doesn't necessarily hinder your progress or the game itself, but will kind of interfere with how certain statistics are tracked. That was a much, much larger list. So that's something, if you're interested in possibly changing your name, you should definitely go to Sony's website. You will absolutely see the warning screens if you go to try to change it anyways. But probably check that out if you're interested in this.
I'm definitely going to try to change my name because I have WaterLou.
Instead of WaterLou.
I want to drop off that is, and I don't have too much progress in any game. So
again, the problem is though, if somebody's already got WaterLou,
which
even
you
if they
probably
change theirs,
tried,
it won't free it up.
Yeah. Because I'm assuming you tried to get that first.
I might have. I don't remember. Actually, I don't think I did. I think I just went straight to WaterLou.
Quick, get on it. And then just don't play MLB The Show ever again.
I feel like,
oh, no.
Yeah, I feel like when you're, don't plan on playing MLB The Show. I feel like when you're on PS4 WaterLou, that's your proper name. You're very proper when you're on PS4. You're WaterLou.
Yeah, I don't.
You're wearing a monocle, sipping tea. But then when you're on Xbox, it's just lawless.
Living that chocolate
whatever.
life.
I wish I had a monocle and tea. It would be fantastic.
No, I can ship you tea.
He could probably ship you a monocle too.
I mean,
monocle, a cane, a white glove. Man, I'll be Mr.
You're
Peanut
literally
over here.
describing chocolate.
he will be dapper
Top hat.
AF.
Oh, that's what I'm doing for episode 50.
Dressing like Mr. Peanut.
We've got a chocolate bear, little dapper bear emote that we are hopefully planning on getting eventually in Discord.
Yep.
So.
Oh no.
There's
I'm
enough
just
chocolate
looking at
emojis.
a bear with a
Hey,
top
for
hat
what
and a monocle.
Yep, that's literally
That's totally what it is,
Oh
actually.
God, that's
Yeah.
fantastic.
And in your defense, chocolate, it can't be any worse than the emotes we've already got for your brand. So.
Yeah, that's true.
If you want to see these emojis, you can join Discord. Links for that are in the show notes.
Oh, I thought you were talking to me because you were looking at me. I'm like, I'm in Discord.
I'm not sorry. That was.
WaterLou's like, why are you singling me out?
It is weird. If I didn't mention this earlier on the show, Lou and I are literally sitting across like a pop-up mini table using one Yeti talking. So if it's been weird at all, sorry.
Are you saying that to the listeners? Or just to
I was
me?
literally just saying that to Lewis across the table.
A few times he's been looking at me and laughing, and I'm like, I'm not doing anything, but no one's talking. I'm like,
Lou's like, I guess I should maintain eye contact, but this is weird. But
what should
All
I
right,
look at
move
now?
Go on.
moving on. So if you want to change your PSN ID, that is available. Remember, first time is free. So, if you were thinking about it, why not? If you're not playing a critical issue game. Anyways, moving on. We got a couple stories here we're going to end off that are more or less considered rumors, but are interesting enough that I figured it's worth talking about and come from enough sources that there's some substance to them. First one up is PS5 is set to introduce a PS Plus Premium in 2020, which will include exclusive betas and private servers. This comes from segmentnext.com via several different anonymous devs that cite they're currently working on PlayStation 5 games that will it was worded like they would have to be compatible with this service. The one part I don't get about this is the private servers. I feel like that's a developer kind of deal, not so much a Sony deal. But as far as the betas and the alphas go, it basically sounds like this is a automatic preview program you just get if you have the service. Would any of you guys be interested in paying for this on top of a PlayStation Plus subscription, or would you have to wait for more details and be sold a little bit more on it?
I'd have to wait for more details personally.
Yeah.
And I don't pay for PS Plus now, so I don't know if I'm paying for premium.
Yeah. Good
No, I
point,
don't
yeah.
have a PlayStation.
All right, hey, there you go.
It is one of those things. This will be the first time to Game Pass is one thing because you're getting this huge list of games, but it's going to be interesting if Sony offers another service that is just a higher tier of a premium service that doesn't necessarily offer. It would be one thing if it included PlayStation Now, but if it's just alphas and betas and stuff like that, I don't know if that's. I don't know. It's kind of weird, I guess, but we'll see.
Now give me a premium service that gives me every first-party Sony game, and I'm there.
Well,
That's the only thing I do with it.
Yeah, Microsoft might eventually push them to that. We'll see. Next up, I included this just because I've been playing some Battlefield Bad Company 2 Vietnam, which is fantastic, by the way. Battlefield Bad Company 3 might be in development for next-gen consoles. Rumor stems from a Paspin post that was made in late December and supposedly from a third-party European dev, but has since been substantiated with further comments from the developer, and it basically revolves around they're saying that EA DICE is making Battlefield Bad Company 3 set to launch 2020. I don't know if this is true. It's probably not true, but man, I hope it's true because I love Battlefield Bad Company and 2. So.
Well, yeah, you were just
I don't know.
playing some of it.
Yeah, exactly.
You must love it.
I genuinely think that was some of the better older Battlefield games. I definitely think it was the best console Battlefield game ever.
I meant to ask you this earlier, but why didn't you fire up the Far Cry 5 expansion?
That's a good question, actually. I don't know. I think I'm burnt out on Far Cry, man. I've kind of made that known
Yeah,
in
I know.
Discord, but I played and beat Far Cry 2, 3, Blood Dragon, 4, and I think I had my feel at that point. I just, 5 was good, but it was just too much that formula for me. So, yeah. Anyways, that's it for the news this week.
We did it,
Yay!
but we're not quite done. We're gonna oh, don't sound sad.
I mean, yay!
We're gonna throw it over to WaterLou for new games of the week and some other PSAs.
Yeah, we got a lot of new games for the week and more. As of April 16th, you get World War Z My time at Portal.
Porsche.
Porsche.
This is always my favorite part of the old podcast.
Of course you'd give me this.
You give him all the things to read.
Yeah, which actually I did. This was at PAX. I didn't play it because I know it's coming out soon, but it looked pretty good. World of Warships Legion.
Legends.
Legends. I read that right in my head. Final Fantasy X and 10-2 HD remastered. 10 was awesome. 10-2 kind of sucked. No offense. New games added to Game Pass. Prey, fantastic game. Have yet to beat it.
Love that game. Yeah.
So
Very
good.
fun though. I got stuck on the space outside, and that really annoyed me.
Did you guys ever look at coffee mugs the same way in real life after that game?
Yeah, I cowered in fear.
You kind of kept them in your peripheral
I
vision.
just
all the
made
time?
sure I only had one at all time. Monster Hunter World, the Golf Club Dose, Life is Strange 2, Episode 2, not in Episode 1, Resident Evil 5, and Walking Dead Season 2. And then Inside Xbox airs today, April 16th. At the time of this podcast being released, you'll be able to do this at 5 p.m. Eastern.
Watch it.
Watch it. Do it. Do it now.
Do it and watch it.
Do it. And what's going to be on that is new backwards compatible announcements, new Game Pass announcements, E3 plans, festival plans, Rage 2 gameplay, and much, much more. May I tell you, much more.
Thank you
Love
for
it.
that.
Love it. Can he be on the show every week?
Yep. It's already in the books.
Liking the energy, WaterLou. Love it, man.
I drink a Red Bull before coming on here.
This is the biggest Red Bull I think I've ever seen.
It's only 16, you know.
It looks humongous.
I wish it was a 20 ounce, but who knows?
You can never have too much, right?
Yeah, exactly.
All right, that's going to do it for this week's episode. Let's plug this thing up. If you want to keep up with us on a daily basis, head on over to Discord. Links for that are in the show notes. That's where we all just hang out and type and talk and all that fun stuff. If you'd like to support us with your hard-earned money, you can head on over to patreon.com/CAG podcast. Follow us on the socials. That's Insta and Twitter at CAG podcast. Definitely check that out for the Gamepass Roulette stuff and for any new information regarding episode 50 when we're going to start doing live shows. That's a good place to tune in for that. Sorry. And then if you need to reach us via email for anything, we are I always say at. we are cagpodcast at gmail.com. And then we also have the website, crossatlanticgaming.com, which has all of that information. So if I talk too much and you already forgot what I said at the beginning part, just go to crossatlanticgaming.com. Easy peasy. If you need to find me, I am at Risky the Kid everywhere. Doc.
At Doc H1X1 everywhere.
Chocolate.
At Chocolate Bear 80 everywhere.
And special guests, WaterLou or Lewis. Where can we find you?
I don't know if I have my Twitter still active, but
I
if
would
I
just
do,
say-
it's WaterLou is underscore. And then you can find me on Xbox on WaterLou, and then always in Discord if I decide to chime in.
Just tag him.
Yeah, tag me. I usually see a tag. Yeah.
That'll do it. All right. Thank you, everyone, for tuning into this week's episode of Cross Atlantic Gaming. We'll catch you guys next week for an all-new episode. Goodbye.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
See ya.
Oh, I've got an amazing one. Go.
So, my first time using an elevator was a very uplifting experience. The second time really let me down.
Or what if you use an escalator to go upstairs, then jumped on the elevator?
Nope. See, you're ruining the dad jokes.
Logic done.
What time did the man go to the dentist?
Tooth hurdy.
Oh, mother.
I got him.
You just really let chocolate down, Risky.
I'm sorry.
Wait, what time did he go?
Tooth hurdy. There it is.
Hang on, I found a better one. Just watched a documentary about beavers. It was the best damn show I've ever saw.
I like it.
I don't play soccer because I enjoy the sport. I'm just doing it for kicks.
Oh.
You hear about the restaurant on the moon? Had great food, but no atmosphere.
Have we done
Speaking
that
of the
before?
moon, Speaking of the moon, why does a moon rock taste better than an Earth rock? Because it's a little meteor.
Oh.
And
Hey, that was a brilliant segue.
that'll. Oh my God. Yep, keep going. Here we go.
What do you call a Mexican who's lost his car?
Oh no.
Carlos.
Oh.